Hey, what is going on? Boilon coming to you today again for that update, that update video that I promised you all about Gambit Raid, Ace of Raids, Week 2. So I want to go over this. I want to let you know what's going on now, what's changed. It has changed a little bit. We're going to go over what that means, though, in terms of the numbers and what the chances are now for you all to be able to get the Glimmer Bracelet, which is really the most important thing for the next 8 days. So, if you're all ready, then let's boil this down. So I just want to start here really quick. If you go into the events, this did start a bit late. We're recording this as of 5:45 p.m. Pacific time. I believe the first week ended at 5:40 Pacific time. And so you can see here, Ace of Raids, this is week 2. It now has an 8-day timer on this for you to collect for that, which means that depending on whether or not you get 100% on a raid or not throughout this section or throughout this week 2, then you might be able to get anywhere from 8 to 9 raid claims. I actually have a Ace of Raids, a Gambit raid running right now, so that means when that gets claimed, I'm going to be claiming this into week 2 rather than on week 1 when I would have done. However, some of my points that I did on the nodes that went towards my week 1, for those of you who are on my live stream, I did manage to actually get the 8330 on week 1, but just barely. I did claim my milestones, though. If you guys watched my other video, I did claim my inbox rewards. So this one is going to roll over onto week 2 that I'm doing right now, and then there's going to be 7 additional raids. So most people are going to have 8 claims. Some people might have as many as 9, and the reason for that is it depends on whether or not you get any 100% in during this week. So my math is going to show 8 or 9 depending on what your scenario is. I just want to let you know about that. And I guess this lines up, well, I was going to say it lines up with Roll Rebel, but it doesn't because that's 9 days left. So if you click on here, and now you can see participation, actually. So now you can see how many points that your alliances contribute to this, which is interesting now because it's an alliance-based milestone. So that's interesting or not, depending on whether or not you want to know who's doing poorly. Hope this isn't another way for alliances to gang up on other members, because, yeah, this is going to matter now about who's, participating, who's just in general, right? What if you didn't actually join the raid and therefore you're not claiming the mailbox? That's a completely separate problem that I didn't really engage with, I guess. So now that it's an alliance-based milestone, all 24 members, or as many members as possible, need to join the raid and then therefore get the raid mail and, the rewards, right? And because if you didn't, let's say you're away and you weren't able to get on the game to at least join the raid, if you don't do that and get the rewards, then you and your alliance are going to be behind some points because of that. So that's a separate issue, which I can't really account for. I hope as many people, engage and join the raids as they can. What they did change, though, all the rewards are the same. They didn't change any of the rewards, but they essentially multiplied it by 24 to a large extent. You can see at the very bottom that milestone 20 is now 240k. So by and large, they did just kind of multiply the previous numbers by 24 for 24 people, and there you are. They did change this a little bit. So if you guys see here, the Glimmer Bracelet is here at 191,000. Now previously on week 1, and what it would have been on week 2, was 8330. And so a good representation of that, I'm going to bring up my calculator here. If you were to have taken 8,330 and multiplied this by 24, you would have got this number. So 199,920, which it's not at. It's at 191,000. So to know how much this actually changed between the last iteration, all you'd have to do is take the number 191,000 divided by 24 people, and it's about 7,958. So they moved the numbers down slightly. So if this was still a solo milestone, then it would have been 7,958 instead of 8,330. So it changed by like 370 or so off the top of my head, but just multiplied in a 24 fashion. So what does this mean? We're going to go into the spreadsheet numbers and now see how that's changed, what your expectations are for your alliance, and what you're going to need to do in order to clear it out. Otherwise, everything else has stayed the same. The rewards are still there. There's I'm pretty sure the disco balls are all the same. It wasn't really all that much to begin with anyways, because really at the end of the day, you're trying to aim for the 80, sorry, not 8330, the new goal, which is 191,000. So let's jump on over here. I'm going to raise up my Ace of Raids. You guys might have seen this. Now, I corrected this from last time. When I showed this previously, I forgot to multiply this part here where I had nodes points. I forgot to multiply that by 3 strike teams. I wasn't really thinking at first, you know, it didn't really matter anyways because we didn't know this that we know now. But yeah, so now we know that we need to get to 191,000. And so now we can take, and actually we can add that in here. So the magic number, what's the exact one? 191, sorry, 191, yeah, 000. So we can add this in, and this sheet will be available on my Discord as well in the Boilon's resources section. So if you need to share it with your alliance, you can do so there, and I'll be adding that there. So how do you get to 191,000? And which scenarios actually get you there for your alliance and your raids? That's kind of important to know. Well, none of the 30%. Let's put it that way. So if you're only doing 30%, you're not going to make it. And this is both over 8 days or 9 days, depending on how many raid rewards you end up getting in. So if you're in this category, unfortunately, you would have had to save in order to get you there. But 60% is kind of where, you know, you should be able to get it, is what I would think. So where does that put you? And actually I can change this now. So we can see this here, that if you need to get 191,000, well, you need to be running difficulty 8 at 60%. You can see it's down here, the 191. If you had saved, I'm going to shade this in a slightly different color. So if you had, say, difficulty 7 at 60%, and you had some mailboxes saved, then that might push you over the line for 191,000. The other thing is we don't know how, you know, are there offers actually for disco ball, not for disco balls, for cards, like there was in week 1, and how, like, if you spend in an alliance wide, that might contribute to the alliance raid milestone. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm not sure how that really changes things now, if we're going to see different offers going through in week 2 and how that contributes to that. Otherwise, you need to be over 8-day claims. You need to be basically doing the top content, and that's probably not happening. For 9 days, though, if you have 9 separate raid claims, then you can do this at difficulty 6 at 60% or above. You see how it's pretty close here at like 189,000 points here at difficulty 6, 60% on 9 claims, which means that essentially you would probably need to do 100% at least one time during this 8 days, and then be able to launch an additional raid to get that 9-day claim there. So you're still kind of around the similar mark. I'm not sure if a lot of this changed, but where things did change, because this is an alliance-wide effort and the individual node completion doesn't matter, it changed a lot in the 100% category, which is this green category down below. So you can see here that we're essentially here. And what difficulty is this? Sorry, difficulty 3. So if you were able to do difficulty 3, basically over 9 raid claims every single day, then you could get the bracelet at difficulty 3. Now, I want to kind of compare this to what it was previously. This was the old chart from week 1 and how you would get to 8330, and you can see that even at the 100% rank, you would only be able to do this on average if you were doing difficulty 6 or above. Difficulty 6 100% every single day would get you the Glimmer Bracelet in the old way. So you can see how this actually has changed for those of you who are able to do the 100% category, in both within 8 days and 9-day claims for the 100% category for difficulty 4 and above. So 4, 5, 6, this has improved in that sense that if you are able to do 100%, then yes, you can do this at lower difficulties now than previously. However, for those who are sort of in that 60 to not quite 100%, you're kind of still looking at the difficulty 6 range. You might be able to squeeze it in difficulty 5 if you're like constantly in that 90 to 100% category, because you'd be somewhere between these points. This is difficulty 5 here. You'd be somewhere between here and like down here, right? You're not going to get the same amount of points, but you'll be getting more node clear points. It's not going to be worth a ton, and it might depend on whether or not you saved any. But what I want to say when it comes to saving mail, and I know that I didn't do it myself, and I said that you probably didn't need to because community manager Archangel told us that we didn't need to, is that it didn't really matter about saving unless everybody saved. And I don't know if I made that clear enough in my last video, that it collectively, if not everyone in your alliance saved, then individually your raid boxes wouldn't have mattered. So if you had like 3 days saved yourself, that would have only equated to about 3 out of 24 in a fraction of 1 day. Now, if everyone held, all 24 people held 3 mails, you know, then that would be 3 days worth. But if you don't know if your alliance is doing it, then that's the problem, because then it might not inevitably contribute too much to the entire milestone. I hope that makes a little bit of sense there. So that's why for me and my alliance, we did claim our mail. I think we did anyways. Maybe some people still saved, but I claimed all of mine, and we're hopefully going to still be able to clear it. But, you know, I think that we'll be around this mark. We do some 100%, but not very frequently. Maybe like I might expect like 2 over this next week. So we probably will pass it, but maybe not with a ton of extra points. And so the point is that if you are in a alliance that can rally around getting that 100%, then it definitely has changed a lot. Even as low as difficulty 3, but definitely difficulty 4 and above can still get you that Glimmer Bracelet in every scenario. So that has improved, but as far as the people in the 60% category, hasn't really changed significantly. It's pretty similar actually to what it would have been before in the previous math. So unfortunately, not much change on that ground, but you know, if you're in a good alliance that can get 100, so I guess that's the definition of being in a good alliance. Is that what the word? I forget. That's the words that were used, I'm pretty sure. A decent alliance, a good alliance, and one that doesn't suck. That basically means that you're running 100%, because a lot of that has improved, but on the other, in the middle ground, it hasn't really changed all that much. So I hope that helps. I guess that's all I really have to say. You know, unfortunately, the numbers aren't as good as I hoped. I wish that the numbers were a little bit lower than 191k for the Glimmer Bracelet, but yeah, it didn't move enough. I was hoping that it might have changed to like 158,000, and that would have made a pretty big difference between those alliances in that 60% margin, because I feel that the gap is quite large between 60% and 100% in terms of the reward payout. So that's a bit unfortunate there. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this change. We do have an extra day, so I hope that might actually help a few people, or a few extra alliances, you know, push over the line to get you there. Otherwise, until next time, everyone, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.